Ladies and gentlemen, there comes a point in every human being's life when they realize they've been deceived or misled by someone they once trusted. It doesn't matter if the betrayal comes from a friend, a partner, or even a family member. What matters is that in this cold and ruthless world, someone tried to wear a mask to hide their true self. They thought they could play with you, use you, manipulate you without ever facing the consequences. But something changed. You saw through their fake persona. You exposed them for who they really are, and now they're falling apart. It's not a matter of justice or revenge. It's about something far deeper. It's about revealing the ugly truth that they've worked so hard to conceal. It's about showing the world what they are made of and watching them crumble under the weight of their own lies. The truth has a strange way of manifesting itself when it is least expected. And when you expose the fake persona of someone who has long tried to deceive the world, it sends a shockwave through every single aspect of their existence. They no longer have the comfort of their lies to hide behind. They no longer have the power to control the narrative. And now, they're falling apart. The cracks that you saw before are now undeniable chasms. They can't keep up the act anymore. Their entire life was built on the foundation of deception, and now that foundation is crumbling. This moment is a dangerous one for them, because when you expose someone for who they truly are, it's not just a personal loss, it's a public one. It's a loss of reputation, respect, and above all else, power. And when power is taken away from someone who has relied on it for so long, they lose their grip on reality. They lose the ability to control their emotions. They start to panic. They scramble to patch up their story to save face, but the truth is out. It's like the floodgates have opened, and no matter how hard they try, they can't stop the deluge. You've seen the cracks in their carefully constructed mask. You've seen the lies and the manipulation. And when you exposed them for the world to see, they were no longer able to operate in the shadows. They had nowhere to run, nowhere to hide. The consequences are inevitable. They can try to salvage their reputation, but the damage is already done. People now know. People now understand. And there's no undoing that. It's a powerful thing to be able to strip someone of their armor, to remove the mask they've been wearing for so long. But the real power doesn't lie in the exposure itself. The real power lies in what happens after the exposure. Because once the world sees who they truly are, they have to face the harsh reality of their own actions. And it's a reality that they can't escape. They're falling apart, and there's nothing they can do about it. For too long, they've relied on their false identity to manipulate the world around them. They've used their mask to gain power, to control others, to protect themselves from the consequences of their own choices. But now the truth has emerged. They can't escape the consequences anymore. They can't keep pretending to be someone they're not. And now they have to face the consequences of their lies, their manipulation, their dishonesty. It's a slow descent into madness, because the truth always catches up with you no matter how well you try to hide it. It's like a shadow that never leaves. And when the fake persona is exposed, the shadow becomes undeniable. It becomes all-encompassing. They can't outrun it, they can't deny it, and they can't make it go away. You expose their fake persona, and now they have no choice but to live with the reality of who they truly are, and that is their downfall. The facade they've carefully crafted has shattered, and now they're left exposed and vulnerable. They no longer have the power to control the narrative. They no longer have the ability to manipulate the situation. The truth is out, and there's nothing they can do to stop it. They may try to salvage their reputation. They may try to manipulate the people around them. But in the end, they will always be haunted by the truth. And that truth will slowly eat away at them until there is nothing left but the ruins of their former self. It's easy to get caught up in the idea of revenge, to feel the urge to watch them suffer for the wrong they've done to you. But the real victory lies in the simple fact that they've been exposed. You don't need to do anything more than reveal the truth, because once the truth is out there, it will destroy them from the inside out. The fake persona they've relied on is no longer a shield. It's a prison, and they will spend the rest of their lives trapped in it. They will watch as their world falls apart piece by piece. The trust they once had in others will disappear. The respect they once commanded will fade away. The power they once held will slip through their fingers. And all because you had the strength to expose the truth. All because you had the courage to stand up and reveal who they really are. The world may not always see the truth immediately. People may still be fooled for a time, but the damage has been done. The seed has been planted, and sooner or later, the truth will come to light. When it does, they will have nowhere to run, no excuses to make, no lies to tell. They'll be left standing alone in the ruins of their own creation. They will have no one to blame but themselves. And in the end, that's the most devastating thing of all. As they begin to unravel, you may see them lash out. They'll try to deflect. They'll try to blame others. They'll try to manipulate the situation to make it look like they're the victim. But deep down they know the truth, and that truth is slowly driving them insane. They'll try to repair their image, but it will be a futile attempt. The truth is a beast that cannot be tamed. It cannot be repressed, and it cannot be erased. The more they try to cover it up, the more it will seep through the cracks. And the more they try to hold on to their fake persona, the more they will suffocate under its weight. The truth will consume them piece by piece until there's nothing left. The lies they once relied on to protect themselves will become their own prison. They will live in constant fear of being exposed further. They will be haunted by the knowledge that the truth is out there, and it's only a matter of time before the rest of the world sees it too. The fall from grace will be swift. They will lose everything. The respect, the power, the trust, the connections they once had. It will all disappear in an instant, and they will be left standing alone, stripped of their mask, exposed for the world to see. You don't have to do anything more. The truth has already done its job. They're falling apart right in front of your eyes, and all you have to do is stand back and watch. In the end, exposing someone's fake persona is not about revenge or punishment. It's about exposing the truth for what it is. It's about allowing the world to see the reality behind the mask. It's about showing people that not everything is as it seems, and once that truth is revealed, there's no going back. The mask has been removed, the lies have been shattered, and now they have to face the consequences of their actions. They have to live with the reality of who they really are, and the weight of that reality will crush them from the inside out. They may try to rebuild their life. They may try to pretend that everything is okay, but deep down, they know the truth, and that truth will continue to haunt them for the rest of their days. You exposed their fake persona. You showed the world who they really are, and now they're falling apart. And that is a victory that no one can take away from you. They say that time reveals everything, but in reality, it is the truth that does the real revealing. Time may allow things to remain hidden for a while, but the truth is an unstoppable force that doesn't bend to time. It doesn't care how carefully crafted someone's lies are, how intricate their webs of deception may be. The truth has a way of cutting through everything, exposing it for what it truly is. And when you, as an individual, took it upon yourself to rip away their fake persona, you did what few have the courage to do. You made the choice to face the truth, regardless of how it would affect you or those around you. This wasn't just about uncovering their lies. This was about showing them, and everyone else, that the masks we wear, no matter how convincing, are nothing but a fragile barrier between ourselves and the reality we so often try to escape. As you watch them try to cover up their deception, you had a choice. You could have stood back, allowed them to continue with their manipulation, to further cloud the minds of those around them. But you didn't. You stepped forward. You looked beyond the charming smile, the smooth words, the polished image they worked so hard to project. You saw the cracks, the inconsistencies, the moments when their masks slipped, revealing a darkness that they hoped would never come to light, and you exposed it, not with a shout, not with a dramatic gesture, but with the cold, hard truth that could not be ignored, that could not be buried, no matter how they tried to deny it. In that moment, when you brought the truth to the surface, you didn't just take away their mask, you stripped them of their control, of their ability to manipulate and deceive those around them. This is where the true destruction begins. The process of tearing down someone's fake persona doesn't end with the initial exposure. It's a slow, agonizing breakdown. Once the truth is exposed, it begins to eat away at the foundation of the persona they've built. At first, they will try to patch the cracks, to find ways to rebuild their image. But the truth is a relentless force. It doesn't care how many repairs they make, how many stories they try to spin. It always finds its way back to the surface, breaking through the cracks until everything collapses in on itself. There is something exquisitely cruel about the unraveling of a person who thought they were invincible, who thought their lies could shield them forever. The greatest torment for them is not the fact that they've been exposed, but the realization that they have lost control. They can no longer manipulate those around them. They can no longer craft the narrative that they've spent years perfecting. Every attempt to restore their image is like a desperate plea to the world to believe their lies once again. But the world has seen the truth now. And once the world sees the truth, it cannot unsee it. They can try to wear another mask, but the one they wore before has already been shattered. The pieces of it are scattered, and every time they try to pick them up, they cut themselves on the sharp edges of their own deceit. It's easy to think that the person who has been exposed is now weak, that they are vulnerable, that they have nothing left to hold on to. But that's where the real danger lies. Because when someone's entire existence is based on a lie, when their sense of self-worth is tied to the false image they've created, when they realize that their mask has been torn away, they will do anything to hold on to what little remains of their facade. The desperation that takes over is palpable. They will lash out. They will manipulate those closest to them. They will try to convince everyone around them that the truth you exposed is not the whole story, that they were misunderstood, that they are the real victim here. But the truth has already done its work. It has exposed them for what they are. It has peeled back the layers of falsehoods and deceit, leaving nothing but the raw, ugly reality beneath. And no matter how hard they try to spin it, to manipulate the narrative in their favor, it won't matter. Because those who see the truth will never look at them the same way again. The illusion is gone, and now they must face the consequences of living a lie for so long. What's truly fascinating is that the unraveling of their fake persona doesn't just affect them, it affects everyone around them. Those who believed in them, those who trusted them, those who followed them will now begin to question everything. How could they have been so blind? How could they have been deceived for so long? The damage is not just personal, it's social. Relationships will be tested. Friendships will be strained. And the longer they try to cling to their crumbling facade, the more they will push everyone away. No one likes to be deceived. No one wants to feel like a fool. And once people realize they've been manipulated, they will distance themselves. The trust that was once there will be replaced with doubt. The admiration will turn to contempt. And the more they try to salvage their image, the more they will isolate themselves from the very people they try to control. It's an inevitable process. The truth is, like a fire. At first, it may seem small, contained, but once it spreads, it consumes everything in its path. And when it has burned through the lies, the manipulation, the false persona, there will be nothing left but the ashes of what was once a carefully constructed illusion. The person who once seemed powerful, untouchable, invincible, will now be reduced to nothing. Their reputation, their status, their influence will be gone. And in its place will be a person who has to face the reality of their own actions. And the truth is that reality is much harsher than any facade they could ever create. As they fall apart, as they lose control, there's a strange satisfaction in knowing that you were the one who exposed them. Not because you wanted revenge, but because you wanted them to face the consequences of their lies. You wanted them to understand that they couldn't continue to manipulate the world around them without eventually being caught. You didn't need to do anything more than reveal the truth. The truth has power. It's the kind of power that doesn't need to shout, doesn't need to demand attention. It simply is. And once it is out there, it changes everything. The lies they've told can never be untold. The damage they've caused can never be undone. The relationships they've destroyed can never be rebuilt. And as they spiral downward, as they lose everything they once held dear, you will stand as a silent witness to their downfall, knowing that it was their own choices, their own deception, that led them here. There will be those who try to defend them. There will be those who still cling to the illusion they've created, who will try to justify their actions, who will continue to believe the lies. But deep down, they will know the truth, even if they refuse to admit it. And as the years pass, as time moves on, they will see the hollow shell of a person they have become. They will look in the mirror and no longer recognize the face staring back at them, because it is a face built on lies, a face that has been exposed to the light. And in the end, when the dust settles, when the chaos has subsided, they will be left alone with nothing but the reality of who they truly are. The mask is gone. The persona is shattered, and all that remains is the person they tried so hard to hide, the person they were afraid the world would see. And it is in that moment, as they are forced to confront their true selves, that they will realize the price of living a life built on deception. It's a heavy price, one that no amount of manipulation, no amount of lies can ever undo. The truth has done its work. You exposed their fake persona, and now they are falling apart, and there's no going back. Once the illusion is shattered, once the mask has been torn off, there's no putting the pieces back together. The cracks you exposed cannot be sealed. No matter how much they may try to hide their true self, no matter how many times they attempt to rebuild the walls of their carefully crafted empire, they will always be haunted by the knowledge that someone has seen them for who they truly are. The illusion has been obliterated. There's no escaping the consequences of their own actions now. You have to understand something crucial here. The real destruction of their fake persona isn't immediate, but rather a slow, agonizing decay. It begins with the confusion, the denial, the desperate attempts to dismiss the truth. They may rage against it. They may attempt to discredit you or twist the narrative to fit their version of reality. But deep down, they know they've been exposed. And as time goes on, as they fight harder to maintain the fragments of their former life, the weight of their own lies begins to crush them. What's fascinating about this process is the way their actions change. In the beginning, They might try to hold on to their previous power, status, or influence. They may engage in manipulative tactics, use charm, or even cry foul, insisting that the exposure was a misunderstanding or a personal attack. They might lean into their previous personas, hoping to create a smokescreen of confusion. But these efforts will fail, not because they don't try, but because their foundation is built on something so fragile that even the smallest tremor causes everything to crumble. You see, the real agony begins when they realize that they can't control the narrative anymore. They can't rewrite history or reassert their dominance over the people they once controlled. The facade is gone, and the cracks that once seemed small now grow into chasms that swallow up everything they thought they had. The power that they once held over others begins to slip away. Their words no longer carry weight. Their presence no longer demands respect. They are exposed as weak, as someone who has been hiding in plain sight, manipulating others for their own gain. The truth is now out there, no longer a secret, no longer something that can be brushed aside or ignored. It's a reality that cannot be undone, no matter how they twist their story or try to paint themselves as the victim. The people who once stood by them will start questioning everything. What else have they been lying about? How many other people have been manipulated? It's a ripple effect. Once someone's true character is revealed, it causes people to reassess everything they thought they knew about them. Their allies, their friends, their colleagues. They will all start seeing them through a different lens, a lens that's been clouded by the truth. And that truth is that they are not who they pretended to be. They are not the person everyone thought they were. The real danger for them, however, lies in the inevitable isolation that follows. When a person's identity is built entirely on a fake persona, once that persona is exposed, the very foundation of their social existence begins to crumble. The people who once supported them will pull away, some out of anger, others out of sheer disbelief, and some simply because they now realize that they've been played for fools. What happens when someone loses the trust of those closest to them? It's not just the loss of friendship, it's the loss of everything that made them feel powerful, that gave them a sense of belonging and importance. And without that, they will be left alone, confronted with the very thing they've spent their life avoiding, themselves. It's easy to say that exposing someone's fake persona is about bringing justice, about punishing them for their lies. But in reality, it's not about punishment. It's about revealing the truth, and the truth has its own consequences. The truth doesn't need you to be the one to enact the punishment. The truth does that for you. It is the mirror that shows them who they really are, and it's a mirror they can no longer escape from. The truth doesn't care about their excuses, their rationalizations, or their justifications. It simply is. It lays bare everything they've tried so desperately to conceal. And as they begin to unravel, they will try to lash out. They will try to blame others, point fingers, and create a narrative where they are the victim of some grand conspiracy. But it won't work. Not anymore. Their words will ring hollow, because everyone will know that their actions speak louder than their words. People will see the cracks in their character, the lies they've told, and the manipulation they've used to climb to where they are. The more they try to defend themselves, the more their desperation will show, and the more people will distance themselves from them. It's a tragic reality, but it's also an inevitable one. The longer they fight against the truth, the more they lose. The more they try to maintain the illusion, the more exhausted they become. Eventually, they will realize that they can't keep up the charade forever. The emotional toll of living with such deception will break them. The stress, the anxiety, the the constant fear of being further exposed, it will chip away at them. They will become a shell of the person they once were, and the power they once held will evaporate. People will stop listening to them, they will stop believing them, and they will fade into obscurity, no longer the figure of influence they once were. What you've done by exposing their fake persona is not just a momentary victory. It is the beginning of a process of self-destruction for them. It's a slow burn that they cannot escape. Every time they try to repair their image, every time they try to put on a new mask, it will be a reminder that the world knows the truth about them. It's a scar they will carry forever. And as the world moves on, as people begin to forget the lies they once told, that scar will remain, a constant reminder of the deceit they once practiced, the mask they once wore, and the price they paid for living in the shadows of their own false identity. The beauty of this process is that it's not something you have to continue to monitor. You don't need to keep fighting, keep exposing their lies, keep reminding the world of who they are. The truth has done its job. The exposure has already occurred. Now, it's only a matter of time before everything they built crumbles. They will fall apart, and all you have to do is watch as they try, desperately, to hold on to something that's already slipping through their fingers. The real power is not in the act of exposing them, it's in the aftermath. The aftermath is when the truth does its final work. It is when the lies finally catch up with them, when the facade falls apart, and when the world can no longer deny who they truly are. And as they fall apart, you will understand that there is no greater punishment than the consequences of their own actions. They are the architects of their own downfall. They are the ones who chose to build their life on a lie, and now they must live with the truth. There is no turning back from this, no retraction of the damage, no undoing of what's been done. You exposed their fake persona, and now they must face the consequences. And in the end, that is the most powerful thing of all. You didn't have to destroy them. You simply allowed the truth to do what it does best. Reveal everything, tear down the walls, and show the world who they really are. In the end, the truth is the most powerful force. By exposing their fake persona, you've shattered the illusion they carefully crafted, and now they must face the consequences of their own deception. There's no turning back, no rebuilding what's been broken. The mask is gone, and the world sees them for who they truly are. As they unravel, the truth stands as a reminder that no lie can last forever. And sometimes, the greatest victory is simply watching them fall apart under the weight of their own falsehoods.